Hello guys, this is Wesley Morgan. I thought I would come on today and talk a little bit about the events that's happened in the last 3 weeks in the election and hopefully get some feedback from some of you guys. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed. Of course I was disappointed. However, I knew it was a mountain that maybe could not be climbed because McConnell and the Republican Party of Kentucky are as crooked as the Democrat Party. I have absolutely no respect for Mitch McConnell. In my opinion, he's the son of a bitch. I have no respect for the Republican Party of Kentucky. They've done everything they possibly could do to censor everything that I attempted to do. The half of the Republican Party chairs in the counties would not let me speak. You know that's true, Matt Lockett in Jessamine County. Even though you won your state representative nomination in the primary, you know that you would not let me speak to the membership in Jessamine County. Kathy Stocks, I've known you for 15 years. And you refused to let me speak to the Scott County GOP because you knew I had Mitch McConnell's voting record, and you knew that if his voting record got out to the people, that Mitch McConnell would be defeated. Well, I'm here to tell you tonight that I am going to get his voting record out. I'm going to put it out every way I can because that man is a tyrant, and he is not for the best interest of this America. And he needs to be removed. Mitch McConnell is as bad as any Democrat that they throw up against Mitch McConnell. He's as bad. Read his voting record if you don't believe me. Read how many times, 6 times, he voted against the Second Amendment. Read how he slipped these bills into the National Defense Authorization Act. How he's done that in order to censor conservative content, or to remove the prohibition against using government propaganda in the American news media. Mitch McConnell has done every bit of this. Mitch McConnell voted for No Child Left Behind. He's participated in trying to indoctrinate our children. Mitch McConnell and Elaine Chao are nothing but deep state puppets, members of the Council for Foreign Relations, that is trying to take away the sovereignty of the United States of America and hand it over to a bunch of elites in the United Nations. That's Mitch McConnell. I absolutely cannot vote for him under any circumstances. But I wanted to thank all of you guys for all the support that you gave while I was running. I was all over this state, and that's one good thing about the campaign is I was able to travel around the state, and I saw so many beautiful places in Kentucky that I would have never seen if I had not done this campaign. Met a lot of good people from one end of the state to the other, a lot of really good patriots, and even though that I got a small percentage of the total vote, mostly because it was rigged. We all know it was rigged. McConnell and his lap boy, Michael Adams, in the Secretary of State's office, rigged it all up, and we know that. And if they can, they'll keep the mask on, and then they will want mail-in voting in November so they can rig it then. That's what it's all about. This whole virus thing's about rigging the election. And that's all they're interested in, is rigging the election against you, the American citizen, while they sit and rob you of everything that you earn and take it away from you and spend it and give it to other people. Most of them don't even work, but they just hand the money out and give it to other people and take it away from you. Take up to 40 to 45% of your check. If you add it all up, state, local, federal, 45% of your check. Then Mitch McConnell has the audacity to call Social Security an entitlement. Well, let me ask you something, Mitch. You says that the Social Security, the entitlement of Social Security, is running out of money. That's what you said. Well, let me ask you this question. Is welfare running out of money? What about it, Mitch? Is it? Is welfare running out of money? If it is, will you tell us about welfare being running out of money? But of course it's not. Well, all you're concerned about is taking the money that these hard-working people are out here working day in and day out, paying in a percentage. Now you got to know, and Mitch knows it. Every worker out there pays a percentage of his check into Social Security, and the employer matches that. In some cases, pays a little bit more. So all this money is paid in Social Security. So I don't know where they get its an entitlement. But like I said, is welfare running out of money too, Mitch? Give us an answer. You can't answer that because you know damn well it's not. I have never been so disappointed in that I have sat for since 1984 and voted time and time and time again for one of the crookedest human beings that's ever been on the face of this earth. I wouldn't vote for you, Mitch McConnell, if you was the last man on the face of this earth. I would not vote for you. Because you and that crooked Republican Party that you control is beyond any belief that I ever seen. Let me tell you what all you did. I want you to all listen what all Mr. McConnell did. They blocked me in the media to where my name could not be mentioned in any media across this state. Now think about that for a moment. In December of the 17th of 2019, when I filed with the Kentucky State, I called a news conference. There wasn't one reporter showed up for that news conference. I happen to know personally a particular news reporter from the Lexington Herald-Leader. And I called him on my way to Frankfort, and I said, are you going to be there to ask some questions? And he said, I absolutely am. I got a couple questions to ask. I said, okay. He didn't show up. So I asked him, I called him, and I said, hey, I thought you said you were going to show up for this news conference. He said, Wesley, I'm sorry. He said, I got a call from my boss in Lexington, and they told me absolutely I was not allowed to go. I could not go. Now, this is what this man did. I was at the Second Amendment rally in Frankfurt when the effigy was hung on a tree of Bashir. Did anybody hear anything about me being there? I could have walked up and shot a person in between the eyes on the side of the road or in the downtown Richmond, and the news media would not have mentioned it because they didn't want to mention my name. Then Mitch, because he passes this law in December of 2017, when he slips a law in to provide a slush fund to censor conservative content in social media. Our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all those block all of my broadcasts. I can send out a broadcast and it looks like I've got 10 people. 10 people. They do that. Well, how can you do that if you're not deep state? How can you do that? This is Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, the tyrant of all tyrants in Kentucky. And his wife, Elaine, biggest crook you ever saw in your life. How do you think they got all those millions from Red China? You think they've done any different than Hunter Biden and Joe Biden? They'll fight forever to keep Joe Biden and Hunter Biden from being prosecuted because they can't prosecute them because they're in on the game. They're in on ripping the people off. So I wouldn't vote for the man if it was the last person on earth. I'm going to try to get someone to help me. I want to tag this video, this YouTube video, and put Mitch McConnell's voting record on that video, because it is very important that the people understand what a tyrant Mitch McConnell is and how much that he has tried to undermine your constitutional rights since you're a United States Senator. There is really no difference between Mitch McConnell and Amy McGrath. Now, I'm not for Amy McGrath. There's no way I could vote for Amy McGrath. I could never vote for a Democrat. But let me tell you what kind of game they play. You've got to look and start opening your mind and understanding what they're doing to control you. Mitch wants you to vote for him because you're afraid of Schumer. Schumer turns around and he goes to all of his Democrat people and makes them scared of McConnell. They do that on purpose to get you to vote for him. Because you're worried that someone will get elected and will go in and join Schumer. And I agree. I don't want Amy McGrath going and listening to or going and becoming a part of the United States Senate on the side of Chuck Schumer and the rest of those idiots, which all are just anarchists. Before it's all over, they're all going to probably, most of them will be arrested anyway. Q said that 70% of them are corrupt. 70%. Now, you can call me a conspiracy theorist if you want to, but I happen to believe Q, and I've been following Q ever since October 2017, and I happen to believe that all of this stuff is getting ready to come out. And I happen to believe that McConnell he'll probably leave office before his term is up, probably within the next year or two, because he's corrupt. They can't start prosecuting all those people and not start prosecuting these Republicans. There's so many corrupt Republicans that's involved in this too, it's unbelievable. They have literally been conspiring to take away your constitutional rights for years. I can't put up with it no more. I've got to do whatever I can do to see that our constitutional rights are protected and that the way our government was intended to run is restored. Well, let me call out a couple of people. Let me call out some people. Rand Paul. I stood side by side with Rand Paul in 2010 when he ran against Trey Grayson while Mitch McConnell was on the TV running advertisements and trying to get the Kentucky voter to vote for Trey Grayson. I stood shoulder to shoulder with Rand Paul on that. I was Rand Paul's first max donor. You know what Rand Paul does? Rand Paul, he knows Mitch McConnell's voting record. Because every time Rand Paul votes yes, Mitch votes no. Every time that Mitch votes yes, Rand votes no. Every time. Practically every single time. Rand knows what a tyrant Mitch McConnell is, but he stood on the sidelines and did nothing. This is unforgivable, Rand. I'll never forgive you for that. I will never support you again, ever, for that. You're not worth it. Because to stand on the sideline and not come out against a person who has done nothing but try to undermine our constitutional rights and then act like that you're for our constitutional rights, it's bullshit. And you know it's bullshit. And your father, Ron Paul, sent out mailers telling what a tyrant, what a bad person Mitch McConnell was to raise money. I've seen the mail. And he raised all kinds of money on it. Did you try to help beat Mitch McConnell, Ron? Hell no, you didn't. Didn't do a damn thing to try to help beat him. All you wanted was the people's money by selling them a bill of goods that you were going to try to do something with him, but you did nothing with him, Ron. Because you're full of shit. Kentucky Right to Life. Kentucky Right to Life endorsed Mitch McConnell knowing that he has never defunded Planned Parenthood, knowing he's voted for abortion. All you're wanting, Kentucky Right to Life, is donations from the people. That's all you're concerned about. You're not concerned about anything else. You just want to keep the money flowing into the Kentucky Right to Life. Now, you notice the Northern Kentucky Right to Life did not endorse McConnell because they know what he is. They know he's no good. I'll try to get to your questions in a second. Let's talk about the NRA, National Rifle Association. Did you see them get involved in the campaign? Hell no, they endorsed him. He's voted 6 times against the Second Amendment, and NRA endorsed him. Think about that. So what is it the NRA wants? They say they're going to protect their constitutional rights, but they support someone and endorse a candidate that has voted 6 times against the Second Amendment. So what's it about? I'll tell you right now, I've been Last time I'm renewing my membership at the NRA. Last time. National Rifle Association, ain't nothing but a bunch of people living high on the hog in Washington, D.C. on their donations. No more from me. No more ever from me. Same thing true with the National Association of Gun Rights. All they want's the money. That's all it's about, the money. Keep sending your money and sending your money. They're all full of shit. That's what they are. Now, I can use the language I'm using and stuff because I'm not going to run for anything again because I'll be 70 years old July 23rd. I don't care to run for anything anymore because I have been treated by that Republican Party of Kentucky worse than anything that I have ever witnessed in my lifetime. I am ashamed to be a member of the Republican Party, and I've been a Republican all my life. All my life. But I have nowhere to go. I'm not going to one of the other parties. So I'll continue being a Republican, and I will vote for the good Republicans that run. But I'm not going to vote for the Mitch McConnells that does nothing. Him and Schumer and Pelosi and Romney ain't nothing but good friends. They eat together, party together, probably vacation together, on our dime, of course, in a fact-finding mission in, I don't know, Paris, London, living off of our money. They're robbing us. The president knows what they're doing. I truly believe that Mitch McConnell has held the president hostage for 2 or 3 years, threatening one after another about being impeached and the president having to walk a fine line constantly. So, I'm going to support Brad Barron. Brad Barron is the Libertarian candidate that is, in my opinion, a constitutional conservative. And even if somebody says he isn't, which I believe he is, he's pro-life, he's pro-Second Amendment, he's a constitutional conservative. But he's better than any one of the others because we know Mitch isn't, and we know Amy McGrath isn't. We're going to beat your ass, Mitch. You take the Libertarian vote that voted in the governor's race, and you take the 26,000 people that voted for me, we should have a pretty good time of beating your ass. We'll upend you. Maybe we can't beat you that way, but we'll beat you this way. Maybe I can't beat you directly, but I'll help beat you in November. I'll do everything in my life to beat you because you are a tyrant and you are no good. You're nothing but a sneak, backstabbing, sniveling little piece of dog crap. That's all you are, Mitch McConnell. I have no respect for you. And the way you run a campaign, you and that crooked Republican Party of Kentucky, is beyond. Did you know, ladies and gentlemen, that they take your money that you donate to that party and they use it to support tyrants like Mitch McConnell? That's what they do. So, if you all would check out Brad Barron, I would certainly appreciate it because I think Brad Barron is the man that will really stand up for our values. And your choice is this. Brad Barron is going to get enough votes. He's already raised $100,000. I couldn't raise $100,000 because I was blocking every angle. He's already raised $100,000. He's qualified for the debate in KET. And I've already gave him Mitch McConnell's voting record. I gave it to him so he can use it against Mitch, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to watch Brad tear him up. I want you to be there and watch it. Because McConnell cannot defend his voting record. He can't do it. Now, did I expect to win? You know, we hoped that we would, but we knew it was an uphill battle. And like I said, you know, he he blocked me totally in the mainstream media, and then he blocked me in the social media. Then he had as many Republican chairs in the counties. This is probably the Republican Party of Kentucky did this, that wouldn't let me speak. And then they even tore down my signs. Now we put 500 signs up across this state. Some of them's probably still up because some of Mitch's people keeps sending me messages to take my signs down. We've been taking them down. We put up 500. Now, to be totally truthful, we got them up too late. We should have got those signs up back in December or in January. I think that the signs is the only reason we got the vote we got. I think without the signs, we wouldn't have got that, because I don't believe that the people had any idea of our candidacy, because they couldn't find out, because they were being censored from hearing anything about us. They were being censored from hearing Mitch McConnell's voting record. Isn't that really something to say about the American dream, the American way of life, the American political system? You can't stand on your record, so you censor and block everybody, so make sure they have no idea about what you're all about. You're a jerk, McConnell. And I'll do everything in my power to help defeat you. I'm going to check over here and see if I have any questions or anything on the that people sent in. Let's see. Got one Barron for Senate 2020. Another Facebook user just said hello. Dick Cole. Hey Wes, mainstream media screwed over you. Yes, they did. I'm telling you, I could have killed a person in the main street in Richmond, and they wouldn't have opened their mouth about me. I could have been the person that hung the effigy at the rally. I want to talk about that too. Oh, I owe a sincere apology to the 3%ers, to Terry Bush, and all those people that did that. I didn't necessarily want to participate in that, because I chose not to. But Renee Shaw put me on the spot that night at the KET, when I was at KET, and McConnell wouldn't even come and be there. And she put me on the spot and asked me would I condemn that. And I said, of course I would. I should have done that. That was wrong. I should have said, hell no, I won't condemn that. In fact, I will condemn it whenever you tell the Democrat candidates to condemn hanging President Trump in effigy. And besides that, that's hanging an effigy is a political tool that's been used ever since King George. They hung King George in effigy. But when you're running for public office, you try to not piss anybody off. That's your main goal, is to try to not really make one faction mad while you're trying to please another faction. So you try to walk down the middle. Well, that didn't work. And I got some pretty good feedback from some of the three percenters and some of the conservatives. And like I said, I apologize to you. You're right. I should have stood, and I didn't. And hell, I regret that deeply. Not because they didn't win. I just regret being manipulated, and I allowed them to manipulate me. And I sincerely apologize, Terry Bush. I apologize to you. I never said one word about you, Terry. Not one word. I never brought your name up, nothing. I tried to walk down the middle to where I didn't call anybody out. But at the same time, I tried to be in the middle. And there is no middle. There's no middle left in this country. You're either on one side, and that's on the side of restoring our constitutional republic, or you're on the side of tyranny, anarchist. There is no middle. I wished I'd learned that before all this happened, because I still would have lost. Doesn't matter, other than the fact that I don't feel too good about it myself, personally. But they did that on purpose. That was a question that was rigged for me to piss off my base. That's what that was all about. I regret it deeply. Now see, John Howard. See what John's got to say. The Republican Party did everything they knew how to do to freeze you out. Dirty ass bastards. People need to get their heads out of the sand. What they did to you was a shame, and that would show, and it's true, should show all how powerful they are. If this doesn't scare people, then I don't know what will. We are all screwed, and I agree with that. Right now, do you really believe that we would have had mail-in voting? That Michael Adams, as Secretary of State, would have went along with Andy Beshear if Mitch McConnell wasn't good with that? Have you watched Mitch McConnell? He's all for compelling you to wear these masks. He's all for that, even though the president's not. And he said in one article that the president needed to get on board with that. This ain't nothing but an old rigged up deal to try to keep the powerful in power. And to be honest, so far, it's worked. It's worked. I mean, do you really believe Mitch McConnell? I'm telling you, God's truth, he had a 33% approval rating. How in God's name did he get 82% of the Republican vote? I wonder if he got 82% if they had all the polling stations open. And that's another thing. If you want to control the voting in this state, what's the easiest way to do that? The easiest way is to take all of these voting locations and cut them out and shrink them down to one or two so you can control it. That's what's going on, people. But I'm telling you that I don't know what is wrong with the public. They will not wake up. They will not wake up. It's unbelievable. There's a lot of people across this state. I've made a lot of good friends, and there's a lot of good patriots across this state. But it's going to take a lot to change what's going on. A lot more than what we've been doing. Elizabeth McCormick, I was blocked in my counties also. I know you were, Elizabeth. They blocked you out, especially in those counties that you're in. You know, I went and put a sign up right next to McConnell's sign behind, let's see, what was that? Behind Walmart in Danville. And they took and went up and cut my sign down. I had as much right to have a sign up on that point as McConnell did. One of those Republicans in Danville did that, I'm sure. Dick Cole says that Mitch McConnell will throw President Trump under the bus. I agree with that 100%, Dick. But I have to believe. I think the president probably's got something on McConnell, to be honest with you. With all this investigation going on, with all this stuff in China, you know, it was just revealed the other day that Elaine Chow's family took a big chunk of the paycheck protection money. And they're worth $60 million. Well, her family's worth more than that. Mitch and Elaine's worth $60 million. Cameron Hendricks, I have supported you since you were my rep and never stopped. Don't go anywhere. We need people like you. Never stop fighting. Cameron, I appreciate that so much. I really honestly do. My age is catching up with me. You know, now I don't know what really we'd run for. Someone asked me the other day, they said, why do you just run for your state representative office back? And I go, what for? To go back to Frankfurt? Go back into the room with those Republicans? All of them's loyal to McConnell? They're willing to do anything McConnell wants done? can't do that. So they'll just isolate me, and I won't be able to get it. I won't be able to get any bills passed or anything because they'll isolate me. You have no idea how bad it is. No idea. And then they've made up everything under the sun. The lies that they have thrown at me. They said that I filed self-serving liquor bills. Do yourself a favor, go back and read that article. They don't mention one bill. They say I did that, but they don't say what the bills did. Not one of them says what it did. They accuse me of trying to pass a law for a law that I was trying to change, which is absolutely a lie. The bill that I filed was to replace a law that had been declared unconstitutional in December of 2015. A lie. They said I didn't pay my property tax on my houseboat on Cumberland Lake, which is a federal reserve, which they're not even sure legally that they can even assess property tax on houseboats, on the houseboats that's on a federal compound. The counties and the state don't have no jurisdiction over that lake. That's a federal compound. It's like out here at the Bluegrass Army Depot where they're out in the county, but they sell alcohol on the base out there. They don't need no liquor license. You know why? Because the state can't compel them to get one. Because it's on a federal compound. They have done everything they can. And the reason they did that, the reason why they tried to make me look like that I'm some corrupt person, is because they want me gone. They just done it to Travis Brenda. Same thing. Travis Brenda. Did everything they could to get him out because he's a Christian and he stood for moral and Christian values. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what we do. Because when you can't change it, when you've got 80% of the people, you know, these 80% of the people, there was 80% of the people who wanted to keep King George and wanted to keep England in control of America. Only 20% of the patriots stood up and fought. We're getting to a point where something's going to be done. And when they start rigging the news media and blocking your message and won't let you tell what these people have, what they've been doing and what they've been voting for and everything, when you can't do that and you're being censored, man, there ain't much left that you can do. A Facebook user says, Wes, you saw how they suppressed your campaign. This is 100% a conspiracy. Absolute conspiracy. Did you know the Republican Party of Kentucky has rules that they are not to take sides in a primary race? It's supposed to be a even race, that they don't take sides so that the best man wins, and then we all come together and we support the Republican nominee after the primary. But you can't do me that way and then expect me to support the nominee. You can't treat me like some stepchild, like Cinderella. We may end up with a glass slipper before it's over. But they have done us every way in the world. It's like a stepchild. That's how we've been treated, because we won't go along with their agenda. That's why. I had people talking, Steve Rudy, you talked about me like a dog in Paducah because I wouldn't go along with the cover-up of Jeff Hoover's sexual harassment of that girl. Shame on you, Steve Rudy. You're worthless. You are a worthless representative, and one of these days the people in McCracken County will throw your ass out, and you need to be thrown out. And it's the truth. And if you deny it, I'll bring Stan Griggs in and have him tell everybody. Tyler Rosso, I thank you for commenting on me standing up for my convictions. My convictions are your convictions. I have nothing to gain from any of this. I never did have anything to gain. In fact, it never was about me anyway. It was more about trying to save this country, and that's the reason why Brad Barron he is the best alternative to me. He is, there's no doubt about it. Brad Barron is more closely aligned to the way I think than Mitch McConnell could ever be, or Amy McGrath could ever be. Let me ask you a question. Think about this for a moment. What has Amy McGrath done? Where did she get all this experience of passing laws and stuff like that? She became a darling of the media. So the media, the mainstream media, really wants Amy McGrath. That's who they want. But they'll settle for Mitch again if they have to have him because he's a rhino and he'll be as much a Democrat as Amy will. They'll settle for him again. But God forbid, don't you put no constitutional conservative in there. Somebody's going to stand up for the Constitution and stand up for our president. They don't want that. Dick says, or Elizabeth McCormick, she's on board with Brad. Dick Cole, we need to get Brad to Breckinridge County. Dick, we'll have to figure out who he's going to talk to because, the Republican Party of Breckinridge County would never let me speak to him. I never would answer. They never would answer my emails. You have so many of these people and these chairmen of these counties, including Madison. But all they do is take their orders from Frankfurt, and Frankfurt takes its orders from Washington. Think about that. Mitch goes up there in September of 2014 and passes a law that a rich person can donate $324,000 to his campaign to help him win. He raised $26 million. I raised $26,000. Most of what I spent come out of my own pocket. $26,000 versus $26 million. Think about that. But he can raise $26 million because all these people that he takes care of, all these insurance companies and these pharmaceutical companies and shipping companies, so that Elaine takes care of them, I'm sure. All those people, they make all those millions and millions of dollars while we sit and fight over the scraps. Because that's what they do. That's what we're doing. These people who voted for Mitch McConnell are fighting over the scraps while they live high on the hog. You can't even pay for your health insurance. Does Mitch have a problem with health insurance? Hell no, he don't. All you're worried about, school teachers and stuff, is your pension. Would you like to have the pension that Mitch McConnell's got? Isn't it pathetic? Isn't it absolutely pathetic that this old geezer tyrant son of a bitch has been living off of your hard-earned money for 36 years, and if he gets reelected, it'll be 42 years. Think about that. Think about that for a moment. If anybody else has any questions, let's see here. Facebook user, I wonder if it even dawns on the good blue-collar Democrats that Amy aligns with Marxists. Certainly does. And I'm going to tell you something. You're going to get Amy McGrath if you don't go with Brad Barron. Brad Barron is going to take enough votes, it's going to give it to Amy McGrath. You've got to align yourself behind and elect Brad Barron. He is the guy to elect. I'll do everything I can for Brad to try to help him for what I can do. But we got to have you. We got to have all the people across. But most of, I had a person tell me in Knox County that his dad and mom voted for Mitch. They wanted to vote for me, but they voted for Mitch because these Republicans have said they hate his guts, but they're so convinced that he's protecting Trump, and he's not. Look at his record. Oh, let me show you what Mitch. Look at this. See this? Look at this. This is the flyer that Mitch sent out for the primary election. They did. The only squad Kentucky needs. Vote Mitch on June the 23rd. Since day one of the Trump administration, Mitch McConnell has served as the president's #1 ally. Mitch, why didn't you pass all his nominees for the first few years? Why you held them all up for? You only started passing them when it became time for you to get reelected. He has proudly fought shoulder to shoulder with President Trump to pass historic tax cuts. Put more than 195 conservative judges on the federal courts. Yep, he's done that. About 80% of them came after Mitch started running for re-election. 2 years before that, crickets. Defend the Second Amendment. You lying bastard. You voted against the Second Amendment 6 times. And I've got your voting record to show it. Rush emergency economic relief to people hurt by the coronavirus pandemic. Well, that's true. But boy, you have complained and complained and complained about it. Can't stand it. It didn't go to the big bankers and stuff that gave you all your campaign donations. Secure the borders. When did Mitch McConnell secure the borders? Do you all not remember when the president was doing everything he could, having to use executive orders, trying to stop the flow of illegal aliens in across the border in Mexico, from Mexico? And Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan wouldn't do a damn thing about it for 2 years. 2 years. And then turned around and appropriated $4.5 billion to take care of those illegal aliens that came across the border while we got veterans sleeping on the streets. It's unbelievable. I guess people believe this. They don't keep up with it. Say he supports your veterans. No, Mitch, you support illegal aliens. That's what you support. That's what you've always supported. And he strengthens our military. When President Trump came in to power, when he came in as president, Mitch McConnell had already been as the Senate Majority Leader for what? 2 years? 15, 16? There was something called sequestration. They were stripping everything they could out of the military to the point. Don't you remember? Don't you remember the president is told how many times on the campaign trail? Told about how our Air Force never even had parts to put on the plane? Most of our Air Force was being grounded because we didn't have spare parts. But this piece of dog crap acts like he strengthened the military. The only thing he strengthens through the National Defense Authorization Act is he strengthens the deep state and the UN and the Council for Foreign Relations and all those people that's trying to take our country over and get rid of the Constitution and put us all in bondage. That's the only thing he's trying to strengthen. And you see all those kids? See all those kids there with those T-shirts on? They're all hired. When I was at Fancy Farm in August, he bussed in 4 or 5 bus loads of high school kids with Mitch shirts on and put them in there so it acts like everybody was for him. Paid every one of them. Then he has a how to vote for him. I had a lot of people that sent me messages that they didn't get any card in the mail to tell them to go to another polling station. And when they went to vote, they couldn't get in, and they didn't know where to go to. I'll tell you what, Mitch. You may have done a real good job of censoring me and shutting me down, you and the Republican Party of Kentucky, but you're going to have your hands full in November. Brad Barron is our best choice for the United States Senate, and I will support him 100%. If we keep following this Judas goat to the slaughterhouse, remember the Judas goat goes out on the other side. He doesn't end up being slaughtered. It's only the sheep that follow him get slaughtered. Leah King, there needs to be a power surge of voters to turn towards Barron. Thousands and thousands. Will that happen? Well, when Brad wins, or he doesn't win, and Amy wins, which we don't want Amy to win, they're going to go, Brad Barron caused Mitch to lose. And they're going to whine and whine and whine the way they whined when Bashir, look what we got. Matt Bevin should have won that race. Matt Bevin would have run that race if he'd have stayed away from Mitch. But he threw in with Mitch because he thought he had the power to help him get across the finish line. And look what we've got and we having to suffer with. It's awful. All they do is use fear tactics to scare you all to vote for Mitch McConnell. I understand the fear. I do. But you got to put all these tyrants out, all of them, from the constable all the way, not including the president. I am a 100% Trump supporter and always be, and the man is our only hope. But he's a smart cookie, and Mitch may have been holding him hostage, but I'll guarantee that he's played a chess game with Mitch, and he won't end up winning it. All this mask and all that bullshit and all this stuff to try. The very minute this election's over in November, all this stuff's going to go away. This is all about the election. Everything was. You really believe that Mitch would have got the percentage he got if they didn't control the vote? You really believe that? And what was this bullshit of bringing the vote out and stopping it for a week? Why they decided how many votes they needed? Think about that. This letting people vote absentee or mail-in voting as long as it was postmarked on the day of the election. Well, if you could go to the post office and mail the damn ballot, why didn't you go vote? It's rigged, people. Tyler says, it even sadly happens on the college level. It does, Tyler, you're right. When I was state treasurer for KFCR, I pretty much got blackballed because I didn't agree with the candidates of the state's choosing. Yep. Ask the Louisville Metro young Republicans about what the state did to them. How they run all those people in there, including, well, I won't mention his name. But that's what they did. They went up there and overthrew the Louisville Metro young Republicans and put in their own people so they could control the young Republicans across the state of Kentucky. That's what the Republican Party of Kentucky did. I've got a bad taste in my mouth for the Republican Party. It might not mean anything. Obviously, with the vote totals, I guess it does. But this Democrat Party is absolutely out of their mind. But I'm going to tell you, the Republicans ain't far from it. Think about it. Why isn't the Republicans stood up to Andy Beshear? Where are they? Oh, Daniel Cameron's acting like he's doing something. Daniel Cameron ain't nothing but a Mitch clone. That's all he is. Mitch controls Daniel Cameron. He controls Michael Adams. I tried to tell people that in last year's election. Don't vote for them. But no. Anyway, unless any of you's got anything else to say, I'll get off of here. I've said my piece. I don't know what I can do to help other than try to help Brad as much as I can to try to win this race. And that's what I intend on doing. And I call every person that voted for me, I call them, please vote for Brad Barron. You cannot afford crooked Mitch another 6 years. You cannot afford that. Good night. And I let you all know 8 hours in advance or so about me being on tonight, so that everybody would have an opportunity to hear what I had to say. And I do appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. And I guess I don't know where to go from here. I'll be honest. Other than to help Brad, and I feel like it, in a way, I feel like we don't have much hope. But you can't quit. If you surrender to them, you'll end up wherever they want you to be. They'll take all your rights. They'll take all your guns. If they decide that you're going to pick beans for the rest of your life, that's what you'll do, is pick beans. If they decide that you're going to feed the hogs for the rest of your life, that's what your job will be. You'll feed the hogs. So, good night. Thank you all so much for listening at me, and send me messages if there's anything I can do for you, and I'll do my best. Thank you. See you.